just makes everything that much easier.
When you were first looking at Prince in the portal when he was coming from Texas, I guess, what did you see in him that gave you confidence that he could be a great part of this team?
Well, I mean, that year when we got here, it was, we got here, I think, in mid-December. Really wasn't able to hit the ground, like, really running recruiting-wise, so we were scrambling, and that was a point in time where we were literally watching everybody. We had to see, where the value was in every guy. And, that class was actually pretty good. We ended up getting a pretty good transfer class in that class, and the wrap on Prince was that he was a tweener and that he was out of position at Texas, and we weren't sure what he was going to be able to play. And we saw a twitchy guy who was really active off the edge. We watched his high school film, and we just figured, hey, anytime you get a guy that has at this level, you're looking for someone who has a dominant trait, and his dominant trait was he's really explosive. So we figured, hey, if we could build this guy up, he has 3 years left, we could develop him, and he could do something special.
What was kind of the conversations with him, and as well as Clayton, kind of taking those guys from traditional blue blood programs and getting them to come to ASU?
Yeah, I mean, it was just the opportunity, and seeing this and seeing Arizona State for what it really is. There's perception, and then there's reality. The reality of Arizona State is it's a great place to live. It's a great place to be a student athlete. The quality of life is really high here, and the reality is too is our guys look forward to coming to school and coming to work and coming to football every single day. Every time they come into that facility, they have an energy about it. There's no monotony. There's not 3 months of cloud cover. There's not 300 days of non-sunshine. I've been in those places, and those can weigh heavily on your mental health and your want-tos day in, day out, especially as you get now into October and November, where you've been doing this every single day since the middle of July. It's the teams that are excited to come to work every day that really show who they are, and showing Prince and Clayton and those guys can see it. They can see the vision that our head coach had when we all got it.
Coach, in your linebacker group, when you look at linebacker group as deep as it was last year, Martell Hughes still played as a true freshman. Can you just talk about his development just from day one until now, and now he's that big play on Friday?
Yeah, he's another guy you look at and you see just the dominant traits. Like when we watched him as a high school player, he played safety, but his dominant traits were his length. He played really fast and he was physical. And we figured, with his frame, could we develop him and get him into play that linebacker position. When we were at Washington State, we had a former receiver who ended up being an All-American at Washington State and at Nevada for me at linebacker, starting for the Chargers now, Dan Henley. We saw a lot of his same qualities. The guy who could cover, who was an athlete, who played multiple positions in high school, but he has the trait that you just can't teach. And the thing that you can't teach is toughness and the willingness to be physical. And Martell has that. And when you have those qualities and the dominant traits like athleticism and the ability to develop, when you got the toughness, is the hardest thing to develop. You can't develop that as a coach. It's something you have to literally find, and you got to recruit it. And he's been everything we expected, and we think his ceiling's really high.
Coach,
when you go back and look at the game tape from Friday, was that about as flawless as a defensive game that we could have?
It was far from it. Yeah, it was far from it. There was a lot of miscommunication. There was some things that we could have done much better in coverage, especially in situations. There's things that we can definitely improve upon. There's things that we come away with that game going, golly, Jamin goes out the 12th play of the series, and Rodney Davis comes in and plays, 50-some snaps, and he plays really well. But he has, it's his first extended action of his career. Kendrick Breedlove, his second game in a row, he's played every snap. Boogie Wilson, he's getting used to playing that free safety position again in our system because of, he was rotating in really every position in the back end during fall camp. So, there's things that we can get better at and things we have to get better at. Third down defense, we got to get better at. Our red zone execution, we got to get better at. We got to be able to get lined up versus, different alignments from the offense. And, we missed one down in the red zone and it screwed a couple other players up. And, 3 guys ended up being wrong and they scored a touchdown 7 yards out. touchdown runs. If we just get our fits right, we get into third down both those situations, and I like our chances on third down in the red zone.
Get what you're saying though, how impressive is it that you held the quarterback to the East was the best he played in the league under 300 yards, and what's possible for this defense?
Yeah, that's something we keep chasing. I mean, that's the carrot that we keep chasing at defense is let's put up a complete game together. And if we can put a complete game together, there's really no limit to what we can do. And as long as we continue to take each day in, day out, and literally we treat every day like it's game day, Monday through Saturday morning, the game's going to take care of itself.
A quarterback and an offense that'll pose a different set of challenges, I would think, in Utah when you face them.
Yeah, he's a really good athlete. I'm really familiar with him. I recruited him briefly when I was at Wazoo. I came down here and watched him work out when he's at Saguaro playing for Coach Jason Mons. He's athletic. He plays like he's the best player on the field. Plays with a lot of confidence. They got a big old line, and they got a really good offensive line. Probably got 4 or 5 guys that play in the NFL on that offensive line. They're always big and physical at tight end, and their skill players are just really efficient, effective players. So it's a unique scheme on offense, and it's going to be a challenge for us.
And the fact that he has his former offensive coordinator at New Mexico with him in Utah just seems like another benefit for them.
Yeah, it's his first year there as a coordinator, but anytime you got a quarterback the second year in the offense where he's had that kind of productivity, you're going to have a well-oiled machine on offense, which is indicative of, averaging like 48 points a game or something crazy, and 550 yards of offense a game or something around. So we're going to have to put together our best plan to be able to defend these guys.
Coach, walk me through that drill where you were simulating a screen pass, had the DBs and linebackers pursue. What were you hoping to achieve there?
Yeah, the biggest thing is we look at where we've not been great at during these bye weeks, and we're trying to get better. And everything's about fundamentals for us. I mean, we are on defense with situational defense, but if our fundamentals are on point, or tackling and running the football and the angles that we take, if those aren't on point, doesn't matter what we call it. It's not going to work.
Talking about obviously we're doing the 111s and teams like trusting each other and the coaches, but with Coach Reynolds working with the D-line, what have your conversations been like with him? Just because, again, more so playing for each other, playing as a unit. Not that they weren't before, but it just obviously it's perfectly choreographed when you're calling the defense.
Yeah, it is, and everything's choreographed, and everything goes with a lot of thought and preparation. And Coach Reynolds does a great job, along with Coach Amy and Coach Clark. I mean, those guys put their heads together. And Coach Reynolds comes up with a plan, and they execute it. The only thing I do every week is I just challenge everybody, players and coaches. Hey, let's put ourselves in the best position to be successful. Let's handle the process. The winning and losing takes care of itself. As long as we do our 111, we're not big play hunting. We're going to be really good. And by and large, I mean, we've done that as a defense, for the most part of the season. But there's been times where our guys, they think they see something and their eyes go bad. Up front on the defensive line and in the back seven, whereas we see a play and they see it coming and they go, okay, let me do outside of what I've practiced and what I've been coached to do, and we try to make those plays. So we're trying to get our guys to understand, hey, those opportunities are going to come as long as you just become consistent, trust in your fundamentals, and execute the game plan. So Coach Reynolds, those guys are doing a great job, and it's just their results are a byproduct of the work that's being put in.
The nickelback is the only position you didn't have an established returning starter. How do you value that position, even though dealing with the injury to Montana Warren, but the player like Kendrick Breedlove?
Yeah, I mean, he just keeps getting better and better in understanding, his position. And really any position on a team shouldn't be playing 70 snaps a game. And again, we're going to get other guys on the field playing nickel this week because it's only going to help him be more effective, more efficient when he's out on the field, so he can stay more focused. I mean, fatigue is the enemy of focus. You know what I mean? So we got to make sure that we keep our guys. And if you ever see Kendrick or anybody else on our defense break down, a lot of times it's because they're taking too many reps, and we got to get other guys out on the field to be able to relieve those guys so they can get fresh and be focused.
Thanks, Coach.